So what are research questions? The purpose of all research is to answer research questions. If you cannot articulate the research questions that you're trying to answer, then, in my opinion, you're not doing research. You may be, I'm not saying you're completely wasting your time, but whatever it is you're doing, if you couldn't, if you can't explain how the activity you're engaged in will help you to answer your research questions, then what you're doing is not research. If you can't describe what an answer to your research question would look like, then it possibly isn't your research question. Why am I being so strict and inflexible about all this? Well, to do quantitative research, you must have an especially clear and often narrow research question, a very precise description of what an answer to it will be, and a meticulous and somewhat inflexible plan leading to the discovery of an answer. Without all of those things in place, you will end up meandering around, quite possibly wasting time and in the real world money. And what's worst of all, you may end up not only not contributing to knowledge, but actually confusing yourself, and worse, confusing other people. Bad research leads to the opposite of knowledge. It leads to confusion. It leads to you thinking you found something out when actually you didn't find anything out, or thinking you found one thing out when in fact what you actually found is evidence in support of something quite different. When you do qualitative research, which is what most students in this department spend most of the time thinking about, when you do qualitative research, you can be a bit more flexible, and that's great. I used to be a qualitative researcher. I still do a lot of qualitative research. There's nothing wrong with that. Because of the very nature of it, you can redefine the project in the middle. You can reconceptualize your research questions. You can go back and you can do all sorts of stuff in qualitative research that you just can't in quantitative research. Because once you are, if you are, let's say, counting things or measuring things, you've got to do that with a very, very clear plan so that it's done consistently all the way through. And then when you come to analyze it, you've got to analyze it in a way which makes sense and which was anticipated in the beginning, in the very way that you collected that data. Otherwise, this is worse than useless. So please bear all of this in mind. I know it sounds inflexible. I know it sounds like I'm telling you to think inside a box. Well, yes, I am. But the thing is, you don't do that robotically. You don't do it mechanically. You don't think inside a particular box just because I told you to. What you do is you choose the box you're going to think inside. You choose it intelligently and you stay in that box until you finish the research, and then you come out of the box and you think, how did it go? And then maybe you go into a different box next time. But while you're doing the research, you stay in that box that you chose for yourself. Quantitative research questions are questions concerning quantities, which is to say measurements, and their relationships. This means questions like how often, how much, which is more, which is less. Does more of this thing mean more of that thing? These are the kind of questions you can answer.